Hello and welcome to the Hub on CGTN. I'm Wang in Beijing. As China's 2026 two sessions close, attention has been turning to the issues shaping the nation's future. From building a greener, more sustainable society to redefining life in later years and unlocking the full potential of the silver economy to ensuring food security for 1.4 billion people, lawmakers and members are tackling challenges that touch every corner of Chinese life. A reporter brings the latest from the front lines. China has long been committed to building a green and more sustainable future, and this time it is making new efforts from the legislative level. China's journey towards a greener future has never been a matter of mere words, but also, and more importantly, of action. Our reporter Wang Naiqian gives more insight.
China has established the world's largest clean power supply system and the world's largest carbon emissions trading market, major milestones in its efforts to combat climate change. And now beyond the visible green transformation, China has also moved at the legislative level. It has consolidated and refined its environmental laws into a unified legal framework, codifying the draft Ecological and Environmental Code.
So what exactly is it, and why should we care?
During this year's two sessions, I spoke with some members of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference to get some answers.
用一个词来形容即将诞生的生态环境法典，您会用什么词？
A toolbox. The draft code involves the systematic integration, revision, and elevation of existing frameworks. It is systematic and integrated.
A milestone. We've had many environmental laws in the past, but they usually tackled one aspect at a time. This draft code is more systematic and holistic, providing a stronger foundation for constructing an ecological civilization.
A benchmark. Domestically, it resolves fragmented environmental governance issues. Internationally, it sets an example. The framework itself is groundbreaking, giving us greater credibility and influence on the world stage.
The draft code consists of 1,242 articles across 5 sections, covering areas such as pollution control, ecological protection, and green and low-carbon development. Sounds huge, right? But experts told me that it's closer to home than you'd expect.
Everything we do, what we eat, where we live, how we get around, is connected to the environment and ecosystems around us. These areas used to be regulated separately, but now they're unified under one framework. And that's shifting how people think about reducing pollution, protecting nature, and actually living sustainably.
Beyond strengthening the overall coordination, the draft code also offers a new vision for global environmental governance. It includes a separate chapter on green and low-carbon development, a pioneer move worldwide.
Having a dedicated chapter on this can actually change the way people think. In the West, environmental protection and economic growth are seen as opposing forces. But through green development, we've shown that the two can exist in harmony.
This chapter is worth paying attention to. It's unusual to see green development and environmental protection treated as one integrated system. But when you get the policies right, they reinforce each other. Reducing pollution also cuts carbon emissions and helps fight climate change. Most traditional approaches can't do that. This draft code gives us a practical framework that actually works in the real world and could accelerate our development in ways we haven't seen before.
International cooperation, too, has a place in this draft code. A principle China's long championed has been given its most definitive expression.
Science should be borderless. I'd say the same is true for environmental protection. When ecosystems are damaged in one country, the effects don't stop at the border. They spill over to neighbors and beyond. China has always been open about this, sharing our experiences and lessons learned with other developing countries.
From reshaping governance pathways to establishing a shared value system, China's journey toward a greener future has never been a matter of mere words, but of action. It's a path China itself walks, and a proposal it shares with the world.
In China, life in later years is being completely redefined and reimagined. From mastering digital tools to pursuing bold new passions, older adults are not just defying age. What's driving this surge and how can it be sustained? Our reporter Wang Naiqian has more.
Forget your stereotypes about aging. In China, the image of life in old age is being rewritten. From mastering the latest digital tools to pursuing new passions, older adults are doing more than defining age. They're also powering the economy. We're talking about an industry so vast that it is expected to exceed 30 trillion yuan by 2035, growing threefold from current levels.
So what's driving this explosive growth, and more importantly, how to make it sustainable? I spoke with several CPPCC members at the two sessions to find out.
中国经过这个40年的快速发展。
Over the past 4 decades of rapid development, China has made remarkable progress, both economically and socially. Life expectancy has risen significantly, and within a relatively short period of time, China has developed a large aging population. That demographic shift has also created a fertile ground for the development of the silver economy.
连续这几年，政府工作报告都提到。
Population aging has appeared in the government work report for several consecutive years. It mentioned building stronger institutional systems, and in 2025, the report began highlighting the development of the silver economy.
你看，今年2026年的报告里面
In this year's draft government work report, the emphasis is on high-quality development. More than a dozen concrete measures related to elderly care and the silver economy are proposed, including subsidies for disabled seniors and improvements to long-term care insurance. These are practical steps built upon the policy framework that has taken shape over recent years.
Demand is rising in very tangible ways. On one hand, the number of people aged 80 plus is growing rapidly, which means greater demand for assistive devices such as nursing beds and home care equipment. At the same time, a new generation of retirees is entering old age. These younger seniors have very different expectations. They are interested in wellness services, cultural tourism, and more active lifestyles. High-quality development of the silver economy ultimately means putting people first and responding to the diverse needs of different groups of seniors.
Demographics, policy support, and market demand. These are the forces driving China's silver economy forward. But it's important to remember China's elderly population is anything but uniform. More than 300 million seniors have different incomes, lifestyles, and needs. Building a sustainable future means narrowing regional gaps from prosperous cities to rural communities, where tailored solutions are essential.
Different regions develop the silver economy based on their own strengths and resources. Take Guangdong as an example. As one of China's leading innovation hubs, the province can integrate elderly care with emerging sectors such as artificial intelligence and robotics. At the same time, Guangdong's proximity to China's two special administrative regions, Hong Kong and Macau, creates opportunities to explore cross-border elderly care services and new related products.
Improving rural elderly care should begin with raising the level of basic pensions for farmers. Only by increasing this income can elderly rural residents strengthen their ability to support themselves. Another challenge is shifting traditional attitudes toward elderly care. Instead of relying solely on family-based home care, older adults should be encouraged to consider a wider range of care options. At the same time, technology can also support seniors who continue living independently at home. Across China, many places are already experimenting with new solutions, with devices that can monitor seniors' health around the clock, track changes in their physical condition, and respond to their needs.
From regional programs to rural innovation, China is exploring multiple paths to build a more inclusive silver economy. But behind every policy and platform lies the same reality. None of it works without the people to make it happen.
People are the most important resource and the core competitiveness of the silver economy. In my view, the sector requires 4 kinds of talent. First, frontline workers, such as caregivers and rehabilitation specialists who provide direct services to seniors. Second, technicians. As artificial intelligence becomes increasingly integrated into elderly care, technical expertise is essential. Third, managers who can effectively operate community-based and institutional care services, ensuring both quality and sustainability. And fourth, interdisciplinary professionals, because the silver economy now extends into related sectors such as senior housing, wellness tourism, retirement living, and senior finance.
The demand for talent reflects growing opportunity. As the silver economy expands, the job market grows with it, creating new roles, new skills, and attracting more people, including a rising number of young professionals.
During the Spring Festival, I visited a senior care institution while conducting research. I noticed that the average age of the staff was around 40, and one of them was a 25-year-old master's graduate. He told me he finds the work meaningful and rewarding. As the elderly care sector becomes more standardized and professionalized, it is gradually attracting more young people to join the industry.
After hearing these perspectives, the bigger picture becomes clearer. Population aging is an irreversible global trend, so the real question is how societies respond. In China's case, the answer is constant adaptation, turning demographic pressure into new momentum for growth. Because in the end, all of us will grow old, but perhaps the path there doesn't have to look the same everywhere.
Within less than 80 years, China's average life expectancy has more than doubled from about 35 to 79.25 in 2025, with the largest aging population in the world. How can China ensure higher living quality for its senior citizens? Our reporter Liu Mengling has more.
The Chinese are living longer. In 2025, China's average life expectancy hit a record 79.25 years, on track to reach 80 within the next 5 years. This is a highlight of the 2026 government work report. So, how will China achieve this goal? What has been done and what to do next? During this year's 2 sessions, I reached out to 2 CPPCC members who are on the front line of medical services to get a clearer picture.
近30年，我们中国的老年化人口的增速是世界第一的。
Over the past 30 years, China's elderly population has grown at the fastest rate in the world. To get to this point, I think the key factors are the government's planning and the progress in the medical technology. For example, the Healthy China Initiative, with its 18 targeted action plans, has laid out specific plans and system designs accordingly. And then there's technology. Things like robotic surgery and AI-assisted diagnostics are helping elderly patients get earlier and better diagnosis and treatment. For example, now there's proper long-term treatment for chronic diseases that wasn't possible before. Surgeons are able to perform surgeries they couldn't do in the past, and patients are able to enjoy a good quality life after surgery.
Local governments across China really care about older adults. In cities and provinces, there are senior universities. In counties, there are dedicated spaces where older people can live, socialize, and learn. Even in smaller towns, there are activity centers for seniors. Second, many media outlets, including social media and mainstream media, now regularly share tips on healthy living for older adults across different programs and time slots. Third, many communities have dedicated health service centers. Some of the better equipped centers even have general practitioners who specialize in elderly care or provide services for chronic diseases.
By the middle of this century, the population aged 60 and above in China will exceed 500 million. The big question is, how do we make sure this huge group not only lives longer, but also healthier and happier?
以家庭为核心，社区为纽带。
We should create a service model that delivers healthcare to households, supported by the community. The community can provide elderly care services for healthy seniors. And when falling ill, the older people can be taken to community hospitals. Additionally, we've introduced the 15-minute elderly care circle, where medical services are available within 15 minutes. After work, family members can visit and spend time with their elderly loved ones with just a 15-minute walk. From the perspective of seniors, whether it's their mental well-being or overall feeling, they feel happy because they can still be with their family.
Today, people in China are already living longer compared to the early years after the founding of the People's Republic of China. The real question now is how can we help them live better, healthier, higher quality lives, and ultimately with dignity? The population we are dealing with has a few key characteristics. First is a huge group. Second, public awareness of hypertension, what it is and how harmful it can be, is still limited. So we need to provide targeted health education for the elderly. Second, teach them good nutrition and healthy lifestyle habits, because chronic diseases like hypertension are closely linked to diet, physical activity, sleep, mental health, and exercise. Third, offer spaces designed for senior-friendly activities. Finally, since memory can decline with age, health education can't be a one-time effort. It has to be repeated multiple times through dedicated centers and trained staff so that older adults can gradually form lasting healthy habits.
During the 15th five-year plan period, China aims to raise the average life expectancy to 80 years. How can we reach this 0.75-year rise from 79.25 to 80?
0.75岁的目标，我觉得少了一点。我们的医疗水平已经达到。
I think the goal of just a 0.75-year rise is a bit modest. Our healthcare has reached an internationally advanced level, and with this, we're able to treat and manage more diseases, for example, chronic disease management. I have always advocated including osteoporosis in our chronic disease management guidelines so that all patients, especially those over 80s, can still live a normal life, travel, exercise, and enjoy a happy life with their families. That's our goal.
From scientifically planning the healthcare system to stepping up chronic disease prevention, from creating a 15-minute elderly care circle to bringing AI into healthcare. These ongoing efforts are enhancing China's capacity to respond proactively to population aging, and this will be a key piece in the jigsaw puzzle proposed in this year's 2 sessions, Building a Healthy China by 2035.
In 2025, China's grain output reached 700 million tons, with over half of the world's vegetables grown in the country. How does China feed 1.4 billion people while offering more diverse and better food choices? Our reporter Liu Mengling has more.
Feeding 1.4 billion people is no small feat. Many are amazed by it.
Look at this onion. So many different options here. Incredible.
Many also doubt it. But beyond the debate, here is the reality. With less than 9% of the world's arable land, China produces a quarter of the world's food. Shifting from simply having enough to eat to truly eating well. So how is China pulling it off? What is next to improve? During this year's 2 sessions, I put these questions to CPPCC members Chai Shouxi, Li Baoju, and Zan Lingsen. Through their experience and work, I got a glimpse of how China has transformed from a major agricultural country into a global agricultural powerhouse. And here are what they said.
In northwest China, the main challenges are drought and low temperature. Against such weather conditions, my work focuses on developing suitable cultivation techniques. We use surplus corn straw as mulch to conserve soil moisture. Then we plow it back into the soil through rotary tillage, enabling efficient recycling and utilization of corn straw resources. This approach helps increase yields and efficiency, lower production costs, while improve soil quality in a greener, more sustainable way.
Previously, China's core beef cattle breeding chips largely relied on imports, but those chips were mainly designed based on specialized European and American beef cattle breeds, which meant they could only capture limited genetic diversity in China's indigenous yellow cattle. On top of that, each test cost more than 1,000 yuan. Now, our newly developed chip covers 38 indigenous yellow cattle breeds across China and can identify a wide range of traits while delivering high accuracy at a much lower testing cost. In my view, technological innovation in the beef cattle seed industry is the key lever for this strategy. Greater food approach. It underpins the upgrading of the beef industry as it adapts to the shift in the consumer demand, from simply eating enough to eating well.
Thanks to facility agriculture, we can have fresh vegetables even in the middle of winter. The yield of facility agriculture, controlled environment farming, per mu is 3 to 4 times higher than that of open field farming. We've also improved pest and disease control, which helps secure vegetable output overall. After more than 2 decades of efforts, our food safety has improved significantly. Today, over 98% of our vegetables pass residue testing standards. This shift from basic safety to better quality means consumers can now enjoy not just saved vegetables, but plenty of them.
Sustainable planting in drought-prone regions, breeding homegrown cattle, using smart farming to ensure year-round veggie supply. What is it all about? Not just enough food, but better food. And in our conversations, they told me these know-hows could matter far beyond China as global food pressures continue to grow.
China is at the forefront globally in dryland farming, especially in mulching and cover cropping technologies, such as plastic film mulching and water-saving, drought-resistant techniques. That's why many partner countries of the Belt and Road Initiative are keen to learn our experience. In fact, some of these technologies have already been taken from here to overseas.
We have established 2 China-Kazakhstan livestock science and technology demonstration parks and trained 12 students and technicians. China feeds nearly 20% of the world's population with less than 9% of global arable land. Our experience in resource conservation and intensive livestock farming therefore holds valuable lessons for many developing countries. In Yangling, Shanxi province, we have built joint platforms for agricultural technology transfer that bring together enterprises, research teams, and demonstration bases, along with a network of technology transfer and demonstration sites. These experiences offer meaningful reference for other countries seeking to strengthen food security and enhance the self-sustaining capacity of rural development.
When it comes to agriculture technology, especially horticulture like vegetables, fruit trees and tea, China is among the first tier globally. And thanks to the internet, these homegrown innovations don't stop at our borders, but can travel worldwide, helping farmers and bringing better produce to consumers everywhere.
During China's 14th five-year plan period, the Chinese diet has become increasingly diverse. The meat and egg consumption per capita in China has surpassed the global average, and more than half of the world's vegetables are grown here. According to the 2026 government work report, China's grain output reached 1.43 trillion jing, staying above 1.4 trillion jing for 2 straight years. Now, at the start of the 15th five-year plan, what comes next?
We must enhance the overall grain production capacity while improving both quality and efficiency. With this goal in mind, I will continue to apply my expertise in dryland farming, working on technologies that improve resilience, stabilize yields, and boost production.
We should step up efforts to realize the value of ecological products and advance green transformation and development.
One is the safety of horticultural products like vegetables and fruits. The other is the high-quality development of facility agriculture. Food safety has to be guaranteed at every stage, and then we can talk about improving flavor and nutrition, so that food not only nourishes people, but gives them a real sense of happiness.
Looking ahead to the next 5 years, China aims to lift its annual grain production target to 1.45 trillion jin. After all, improving people's lives is never an abstract concept. It lives in everyday meals and in the growing variety on Chinese dining tables, a vivid expression of Chinese modernization.
With that, we come to the close of this edition of The Hub on CGTN. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Wang in Beijing. I'll see you again soon.